Hey, hey, hey. You're seeing my face, which means it's Sunday, which means tomorrow is Monday. And I am excited for Monday. I can't tell you how excited I am for Monday because it's like ungodly excited for Sunday. It's been a long, 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 long week, y'all. Like, we had Easter weekend and the kids were home and April vacation. And I swear my girls are going to be the death of me until one of them moves out because they can't even be in the same room breathing each other's air anymore without it causing a damn fight. Don't know why, but it's just happening at this stage of the game. And I don't know what's going to happen in September when Erin's in high school and Emma's in middle school. It's going to be complete and utter chaos. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to survive that you know, in that scenario. I just don't know. Um, hey, B Money. Nate, you made it. I'm excited. How are you doing? If you guys could just you know the drill. If you could smash that like button, go ahead and repost it on Rumble, share it on all your platforms. That would be wonderful. I know tonight, which means it's going to be a crazy night. I am competing with Cool Frog, who got rated by Veep, so they have a huge audience currently. Um, I think Sean was cheating on me over there, which is fine because that's a lot of people to get out in front of, and that could do some good. Um, oh, Sean is here. Hello, Sean. Yeah, he's Jay, give him some shit, you know? Cass, see, I saw your comment over in Cool Frogs that it wasn't working over there and somebody else's, but it's working for you here, which means that's a sign. Um, yeah, so what a week. Like I said, the kids were all home. It was complete and utter chaos. Um, uh, we did, I don't even know how many hours of streaming this week. Probably 6 and 6 and 6 and 6. So 6 and 6, 12. You got what, 24 hours of streaming. Plus, I went on Cool Frogs a couple of times. Then I was on Insert Title Here, which is always a blast. Like it is, God, I leave that show and my stomach hurts. It's like the funnest show. And it's crazy because there are so many of us on it at the same time, but it works. Um, the energy is great. People are respectful. It's an amazing time. It's probably, you know, besides my show and then Sean's show, it's like, I don't know, I could probably do their show on top of all of the other shows we do and be okay with that. But I neglected half of my things. I literally turned the corner today and I was like, I have like 7 baskets of laundry to fold. What did I do to myself? Yeah, busy, busy, busy bee is not even like begin to explain how this week went. But I have pretty much everything done this evening. So all I have to do tomorrow is like vacuum, take care of the dog, um, maybe catch up on some sleep. I am like totally on the night schedule now. I don't know what happened, but like 3, 2, 3, 4 a.m. is now apparently my new bedtime. It's okay. Everything is fine. I will survive. So now that we have some peeps in here, um, tonight's episode, we're gonna go through Mothman. I have decided that amazing intro that I have. It's time to start picking through it and using a lot of the amazing um, little video clippets in there and start going over some of those and stuff like that. So I decided on Mothman tonight. Um, and it's crazy. I mean, there were movies made about it. There's a museum about it. Um, bazillion, um, you know, it's just so much stuff that I could probably do like 4, 5, 6, 7 shows. Yeah, Nate, I 100% agree with you. Sleep is overrated, especially when you're a parent. I don't think I've slept since like 2005. But it's fine. Everything is fine. It's fine. I'll sleep when I'm dead, right? I think that's the saying. Um, so the Mothman, man, um, is it far-fetched? Do we think that there could have been some sort of, you know, government facility there where, they're crossbreeding animals or, inventing new ones? I don't even know if that is even possible, but it's definitely interesting for that. Um, there's even Lost Tape episode dedicated to the Mothman. I haven't seen the Lost Tapes, but looking through a lot of stuff, there's like Netflix documentaries, unsolved mysteries. They've done a few of them. Um, hey Joyce, welcome in, my lovely. I watched some of your episode this evening while I was folding the mountain of clothes that I have. Very informative. It definitely gave me a new take on, where people come from who don't believe in God, and then kind of slowly walk that line, love, because, you know, it's it's interesting to see it from a different perspective. Um, Baked potato, I think I told you this last time. I love your name. Mud spuds are my favorite. I could eat potatoes um every day. In any particular form, although I don't drink them anymore. It's been a while since I've drinking any potato drinks, such as some that good old vodka, but it's fine. It's fine. Everything is fine. Another night, you made your way over here. Thanks for popping in, love. Um, so the Mothman. Does anyone know where he's from? Hmm? Do you know that there's a museum dedicated to the Mothman? And the name of this dedicated museum is literally the world's only Mothman museum. I mean, they didn't have to try very hard for that, but it's fine. Vodka stuck sucks. Stick to the whiskey. I was never a whiskey girl, although like I said, I did start off with Southern Comfort. I can't even speak today. What up, no fucks given? How are you? I did, Joyce. I did enjoy it. Like I said, I listened to it. I did pop in a little bit late because I had to wrangle the children after a week of, no consistent bedtime. I do during the school week stick to a bedtime, but when it comes to vacations, weekends, school vacation, summer break, I literally just let them run around until they crash because it's just easier. And then they sleep later now that they're older. And it's great because they're all pretty much self sufficient. So they can make themselves breakfast and they don't need mommy to do it. So I'm kind of in that great, great, great stage where I'm kind of like working up things. Very good, Nate. West Virginia in the town called Mount Pleasant. It's actually called Point Pleasant, and we're gonna go over that. So, let's see here. I love this new setup that now on StreamYard, and I wish they had this in Rumble. I probably should have brought that up when I was on Dara's channel last night. So if you guys didn't know or see or watch, I was on Dara Muth's channel last night. There was a panel. I think I want to say 8 or 9 of us. Super great time, super great guys, super fun, lots of information. Inception or Inceptus from the producer over at the Viva channel. He was there, super great guy, super knowledgeable, had so much stuff. Hey, Krabbits, how are you, mama? Um, Go over there, give that video a like and a smash, a view, all that fun stuff. And you might learn some stuff. I mean, I learned a ton of stuff. That was great. Encryptus. Thank you, Nether. I keep listen. I'm sure you guys have heard this and you'll hear it again. I have the mind of a squirrel. Um, or a pigeon. People like to refer to me as a pigeon. I'm sure you've heard that before. But I've been known to be a pigeon. My brain just kind of, you know what I mean? So there's that. And names I am so bad with unless you have one that like clicks. Like your baked potato or Cass ass. I love Cass ass. That is favorite. And Crabbits. Endo. Andy was there last night too. He's also super informative. He had lots to say last night too, and it was great. That's okay, Joyce. Don't worry about it, doll. We're all here wrong. Yeah, nothing wrong with being a pigeon. You know what I mean? They can just sit there and sun themselves. It's great. All right. So now that I have spoken to myself a bunch, let's go ahead and do what I do best with my mom, high school slides here because my computer is completely gay. And I can't bring up different tabs and stuff like that because my computer just goes haywire, you know what I mean? Hey, Cheddar Steve, how are you, doll? Um, I would love to learn how to use OBS. Sean said he would teach me. Um, my computer, I only have 4 RAM and I can't even look at it half the time without it going, oh my God, I want to die because it just freezes and all that fun stuff. So, Mothman, the legend, exploring the myths and stories surrounding this cryptid with me, of course, Gina, on Mom's Mystery and Mayhem, which you can go ahead and follow me here on Rumble. After you like that button, follow, set your notifications, make sure to repost. If you want, you can follow me on YouTube, although YouTube, I'm not a big fan over there. I think they may have taken down 1 or 2 of my videos, which is weird because it's just conspiracies and me talking. And for them to take it down, it makes you kind of think of things. You know what I mean? But anyways, so Mothman, is he a warning of doom or a misidentified bird? Maybe he's just an evolved pigeon. You know what I mean? Something stranger? Could he be oh, Joyce, I love you, doll. Thank you, thank you. Gifting that 1 sub, baked potato. You were the lucky recipient. There we go. Of that. Thank you so much, girl. I love you. You know what I mean? Or something stranger. Is this a product of radiation? Is this a product of people messing with God's creatures and crossbreeding things and it accidentally escaped from whatever hidden lab, you know what I mean? Who knows? Who knows? So, the legend of Mothman. So, Mothman is a mysterious creature known for its eerie sightings in Point Pleasant. So, witness accounts spark discussions about its origin and the legend's impact on local culture and folklore. So, is this just something that we think is real? Could this be real? I mean, anything is possible nowadays. Or is this just one of those things where they kind of craft up maybe even like the Loch Ness monster or Bigfoot just for a way for them to sell stuff, make movies, you got your merch, you got your stores, you're creating tourism, bringing people into your town. It could be all sorts of things, but it's kind of fun to think about, you know what I mean? He has a status as a pulp culture icon. Like I said, he was in a movie. I think it was like the Mothman Prophecy in 2002. Coach says it's a demon. It very well could be. Yeah, isn't an excuse to hide child trafficking? The world wants to know. Ooh, should I say that? Like, is it an excuse to hide child trafficking? The world wants to know. You know what I mean? Smashing that like button like Mothman, smashing the cast of Jersey Shore. I never watched that stupid show. I can't stand those type of shows. I am not into watching other people's of themselves because I do that all on my own. I don't think I would. I don't know. I can never get into those things. But he is a pop culture icon. He's featured in books, movies, There's festivals, museums. He's all over the place. It's just insane. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll get to the bridge there soon, Nate. Um, it's a Nephilim related ch- Termia. We've all learned, and when you guys come here, I'm a real person who has issues putting letters together. I am from Boston. So, T's don't really mean much. R's kind of do. I kind of just put them wherever I want. And A's, maybe we pronounce them super hard, but it's fine. Everything is fine. Um, is it a creature, an omen, or an hoax? Like I said, it's a huge tourism business. It brings in so much money to their town. They sell different shirts and stuff like that, but there are so many news articles. There's a really cool map. I'll drop the link in there. I wish I could bring it up. But again, my computer. That's the next thing I got to get. I normally don't beg, guys, but if you could please either gift a sub to the channel yourself, Rumble Rant, I will read almost anything for you. You can see right up there in the corner is my Venmo, my direct Venmo, so then I don't have to share anything with Rumble and stuff like that. But Mama needs a new computer to make this show the best that she can make it. Anyways, I digress. Here we go. Um Um, yeah, Nate, I'm gonna have Joyce on one day. She has got a mountain of knowledge about the Nephilims and the forgotten books of the Bible. A lot of that stuff that, you know, makes you wonder and kind of scares you at the same time because there is a lot of information. Um, but I think it's just there's so much stuff and Joyce knows her stuff. So we are in the process. We just have to you know, schedule time for Joyce to come on. The nether night because Gina asked nicely, maybe more to come after payday. I appreciate you, doll, so much. Mwah. Love you. Um so here we go. So the first reported sighting was November 12th, 1966. So way before I was born, I think there's a saying like, I wasn't a twinkle in my mother's eye or an itch in my father's balls yet, or something like that. I don't know. Kravitz, we do live amongst demons. Another name for that is people for some reason because they're just so evil. Um, yeah, Joyce knows her stuff. She can explain the Bible and she has a lot of science background. She's super smart GPA. I forget what she said it was, but she knows her stuff. Um so again, the first reported sighting was November 12th, 1966 in a town called Clendendine in West Virginia. So it was five grave diggers in West Virginia. They reported seeing a brown human being with wings flying low over their heads while working in a cemetery. First of all, I don't know if I could ever work in a cemetery, or maybe I could. Maybe it would be peaceful. Who knows? But I would probably crap my pants if I saw something out of the corner of my eye, like a big flying human being with wings. I would probably think the devil was after me, and then I would have so much PTSD, and then I would quit my job and probably crawl under a rock and die. But that's besides the point. Um, so this often was cited as the first Mothman sighting. So these witnesses, they were saying, are credible as they were all working together, reducing the likelihood of a lone hallucination. So could they all have been doing drugs together? It's probably funner to do them with somebody than without, but it's highly unlikely. They were on the job. They were all working together in the grave, in the cemetery. Um, Are you good out there in the kitchen, my friend? Okay. Can you be a little quieter, friend? Thank you. I appreciate it. Um, The witnesses were credible as they were all working together. So it was like a group of people. Could they have collaborated and, made their stories the same? Yeah, but even doing that, you know what I mean? If I had 5 friends and we were out doing something stupid, exactly now how drunk were they, George? They probably were dipping into that absinthe. I forget what that stuff is called. Um, Moral of the story, don't do coke, kids. Nate, I probably would if they paid me $100 an hour. Absolutely. There's a lot of things that I would do for $100 an hour. Um, but you know what I mean? And I have to say, I did when I did work for the town, I did have to plow the cemeteries every so often. Can I help you? I don't have scotch tape, honey. Um, you know what I mean? But they definitely weren't hallucinating. And then, just think about it. If you're with 5 friends, you're out doing something. Would you tell a story that's going to bring attention to yourselves and be like, okay, these guys are fucking whack jobs. They're crazy. Nobody talked to them. You know what I mean? Like their reputation is on the line. So, there's just, less of a chance, I guess, of them lying and fabricating a story. But there are no physical evidence. But then again, it's also 1966. You know what I mean? Nowadays, we all have our phones out and stuff like this. And even nowadays, there are sometimes no physical evidence. You know what I mean? You got your aliens, you got lizard people. There are all sorts of stuff. Fat and super trucker, you are not fat and dumb. We're all a little bit retarded, so maybe I'll agree with you on that one. Again, brain of a pigeon. It's fine. It's fine. They could have been drinking the shine on the job. Moonshine is one heck of a burn going down. But that was the first reported sighting in November, um, which is just interesting here. So the context of Point Pleasant, 1966. So Point Pleasant was just a small town. They had a population of 5,000 people. That is tiny. It sounds like a big number, but when you put it collectively together, 5,000 people in a town is not a big at all. Joyce will probably talk to you about that one about, you run in that problem after so many years where pretty much everybody is related somehow, some way until you just get out of that town. You know what I mean? So it is located along the Ohio River and has a history tied to World War II um, munitions production. So the TNT area was abandoned and overgrown after World War II. Um, I don't know why they never tore it down. They just kind of got up and left. They basically pretty much took everything and just left all the structures there. So it's abandoned, it's overgrown, rumored to be contaminated with Lord knows what. Um, and adding to its eerie reputation, you know what I mean? There's just bad things probably could have happened there, you know what I mean? The 1960s were also a time of the Cold War. So Cold War paranoia. So UFO fascinations and distrust in the government. The distrust in the government part will never, ever, ever go away. Um, Jay grew up in a town of 10K and everyone knows everyone's business. Yeah, yeah. I live in a small town, um, but everybody knows everybody's fucking business here. It's disgusting, it's annoying, it's obnoxious. My grandmother is a dressmaker, so a seamstress, and everybody in town comes to my house, ever since I was little to get their, clothes hemmed or dresses made and stuff like that. And I remember one time, I think I was in 8th or ninth grade. I don't know. I grew up in the center of town and I was out walking around with our group and um, I kissed my boyfriend at the time and I came to my grandmother's house like an hour or two later for dinner and she's like, why were you behind town hall today? And I was like, oh my God. Like I couldn't get away with anything. Like it's so bad. Nate, I've always wanted to explore abandoned places. I want to go on ghost tours. I think they're so much fun. I am such a wimp. I cannot do scary movies, but I would love to. I'd probably pee my pants, maybe cry, and then have anxiety for a couple of weeks, thinking that something followed me home. But I would totally, totally do it. Um, so the 1960s, you can come with me, sweetheart. Um, so again, 1960s, you got the Cold War paranoia, the UFO sightings and fascinations were there, the distrust in the government, that'll always be there again. And then it may have primed the residents to interpret strange sightings as otherworldly. Maybe they were just a bunch of bored housewives starting, rumors. Um, you don't like ghosts? Yeah, I know. George, I do. I do. I am so bad. I get a thought in my head and then it just phew. But these are the maps here, and this is obviously the center picture of the door of the munition production center. So that whole labyrinth of different rooms. And if you look at the layout here, right? The long rectangle, it almost looks like Pac-Man. You know what I mean? There's only one way in. That's a little weird, you know what I mean? That tells me they don't want anyone sneaking up in any direction to get in. You know what I mean? So it's just I don't know, it's kind of crazy. So the next iconic sighting that they had was November 15th, 1966. Yeah, one way in, no way out. I don't think I could go into a place that only had one way in. I feel like, I have a hard enough time getting into an elevator. Fun fact, Gina hates elevators because there's only one way in. Um, and bad things can happen. So the iconic sighting, November 15th, 1966. This was two young couples, Roger and Linda Scarberry. So there are newspaper articles about this. Actually, those are on display at the world's only Mothman Museum in West Virginia. So if you're ever out there, stop in, take a look. They have all sorts of stuff for you. Um, so again, it was Roger and Linda and Steve and Mary, and they reported seeing a large gray creature with glowy red eyes near the TNT area, the former World War II munition plant outside Point Pleasant. Um, so they described it as a flying man with 10-foot wings. 10-foot wings. I'm 4'11. The wings alone would be taller than me. That's scary. You know what I mean? Could you imagine? Exactly, Nate. Nothing is more terrified when you're alone and you feel like someone's looking at you that you can't see. Imagine that with red eyes and 10-foot wings. I would pee my pants. You know what I mean? Like completely pee my pants. They said that it chased their car at speeds up to 100 miles per hour. So little weird to me, 1966, a car going 100 miles per hour is probably on a dirt road somewhere in the backwoods of West Virginia. I don't know if I believe up to speeds 100 miles per hour that chased their car. It's a little weird. But they said it was making a screeching sound. Linda notated that it was slender yet muscular build with hypnotic eyes. So even though those eyes are scary and red, which generally signifies, demon activity, um, I would probably drive my car as fast as I could as well. I would probably crash it at those speeds, especially if you're on a dark road. You know what I mean? I don't foresee there being streetlights out in the middle of the woods. You know what I mean? Um, and then slender, muscular, hypnotic eyes. So they get those big red, but they're just drawing you in. You know what I mean? It sounds like a regular shopping run. You should come to Boston. Come to Boston. 'Boston. 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 to do a shopping run here. It's absolutely madness. We're here in the corner. Um, maybe it's not. I don't know. We'll see. You guys can let me know down there. The group reported the incident to the Mason County Sheriff. So again, you can Google Mothman news articles. There are hundreds of them. Um, I was gonna bring some of them up, but when you make them big enough, they're super blurry and you can't really see them. But that's fine. You grew up having to deal with the coffin maker? Interesting. Yeah, Joyce sends them all back to the pits of hell they come from, and that's where they belong, and that's where they should be locked up. Um, so they did report the incident to the Mason County Sheriff. And the story appeared in the Point Pleasant Register on November 16th, 1966, titled Couples See Man-Sized Bird Creature Something. The TNT area, with its abandoned bunkers and history of chemical storage, fueled speculations about mutations or supernatural activity. So this brings back that first question of, could this be a hoax again, just to bring money into the town, or mutations? What if they kept certain chemicals here that, bats flew into the cave, you know what I mean? One way out, one way in, one way out. And they happen to either, eat something that was there, maybe fall into a vat of abandoned liquid somewhere, and then just mutated into something terrifying. Or is this supernatural activity that somebody maybe conjured up in the woods that they didn't know how to put back? You know what I mean? Hey, Rocky, we're talking about the Mothman going on here. How was your weekend going? Tomorrow's Monday. I'm actually excited for Monday because the kids are going back to school after vacation, and it's super exciting. Um, the bats near that big, and yeah, some of the bats are huge. They're like my size. When then, no, thank you. That's just scary. I'm not a fan of things with wings. I do like butterflies, but when you start getting into like the emus and those scary things, those things are fast and huge. Just no, thank you. No, thank you. Yes, Nether, Mothman, not to be confused with Mothra, who fights Godzilla. So, Nate brought this up earlier, the Silver Bridge collapse and the harboring theory. So, again, there's a movie about this. The Mothman Prophecy came out in 2002. Um, you know what I mean? So if you're interested and you're bored, why not go ahead, turn it on, all that fun stuff. So the Silver Bridge, which connects Point Pleasant, West Virginia, to Gallipolis, Ohio, collapsed during rush hour, killing 46 people and injuring 9. That is awful. That is awful. That is terrifying. That makes me hate bridges even more than I already do. Um, it's just sad, you know what I mean? Was this a preventable thing? Probably. Was it caused by a random Mothman creature? And it sounds unlikely, you know what I mean? It just maybe sounds like somebody wanting to pass the blame, or maybe the human brain just has this thing where it needs to latch on to stories. You know what I mean? Like, storytelling and storytellers have been around since literally the dawn of ages. You go back to all sorts of cultures, they had people who told stories. That was their whole thing, you know what I mean? Um, so the cause was a structural failure. So a steel bar ruptured due to a small defect, exuberated by heavy traffic and poor maintenance. So we're talking the 1960s. Did they have OSHA back then? I probably should have found that out, but I didn't. But you know what I mean? You see all those pictures of them standing on high rises those iron workers sitting there dangling their feet and eating their box lunches, and they're hundreds of feet in the air. You know what I mean? So who knows? And then you have all these people driving over consistently. You get the vibrations, everything else. Now you're picturing the opening of Final Destination 5. That movie scares me to this day. I will never drive behind trucks that have logs hanging out the back of them. Just won't happen. Um, yeah, it does fit in with the long tradition of ghost or supernatural sighting warnings before some huge disaster. Is it a warning? Are they warning you of something happening? Or are these beings being spotted because maybe they're they're causing this big horrific crash? Maybe they need more souls to steal and take as their own to make themselves bigger. Well, who knows? You know what I mean? But the tragedy literally shocked the small community and it drew national attention. I mean, this was huge. Um, yeah. Except, yeah, I would never expect anyone to think it's real unless you see it for yourself. But see, the thing is people like to latch on to stories. People don't like to do their research. People back then didn't have, Google. They didn't have all of that stuff. They had to wait for the newspapers to print it. And we all know how the media goes with that. They jump on a story, they latch. Who cares about the 72-hour rule? You know what I mean? Oh, thanks, Nate. OSHA wasn't founded until 1971. So there probably was big structural failure because it probably wasn't looked after the correct way. It probably wasn't checked on every, so many months to make sure that the structural integrity was still there. So it's definitely probably 100% what happened. Um, so some resident did claim Teen Man on near that bridge before or during the collapse, though no immediate reports linked the creature to the event. So there were witness eye sightings of this creature, this being, this demon, this abomination before it happened. You know what I mean? And again, it goes back to, if Susie and, the blue Ford in front of you and, George and the Ford behind you, 7 cars, don't know each other and they see the same thing and then they're talking to their buddy like, hey, I'm going to sound crazy for this, but I swear to God, I saw something flying over the bridge, huge, maybe the Mothman that people keep talking about. And someone's like, oh my God, my cousin Susie just said the same thing. How is that even possible? You know what I mean? So could it happen? Yeah, again, I forget who said it because, I'm a pigeon. Um, but a lot of people don't believe in things until they see it themselves. So who knows? Um, Retrospectively, though, the cluster of Mothman sightings from 1966 to 1967 was interpreted as a warning of a disaster, especially after John Keel's 1975 book, The Mothman Prophecies. Keel argued that Mothman was a harboring of doom, possibly tied to precognitions of supernatural forces. He claimed Point Pleasant residents experienced premonitions of the collapse. So he's basically saying that, these people, they did see it. It's you know what I mean? That this being is being spotted before doom. I mean, there's a fish out in the ocean. They literally call it the doom fish that travels up, that big silvery weird looking fucking fish that shows up apparently before like a big catastrophical weather event or something like that. So who's to say that maybe there isn't something that's really good at hiding? I mean, some days I wish I could hide, you know what I mean? I talk too much, so it would never happen. Jay said, Gail's book came out when I was born. Old book now. Oh, goodness. So sightings reportedly stopped after the collapse. reinforcing the idea that Mothman's presence was tied to that tragedy. But there have been hundreds of sightings after that. I think there's some recently, as of last year in 2024, that I saw of people of seeing this. But then again, we all have cameras now, so why haven't we seen this? But it's also the day of ages where we can do so many things with AI. We can do so many things with literally touches of buttons. I mean, I don't know if Jackie's here, but or even Iron or anyone in here that's Gina, you're easy to hide at 411. I am good at a game of hide and seek. But after a while, I do tend to talk like, haha, you can't find me. And then they find me. So it's definitely a catch 22. They probably made me talkative so I couldn't hide at 411. You know what I mean? Mr. Scott says demons can implant visual distortions. It's like an energy ball. Your biochemistry is susceptible to energy, electrical signal manipulation. If you can feel micro vibrations or energy, you can tell. 100%. I can't wear any watches. Or any devices close to me, I consistently suck the life out of things like batteries. I can't wear a watch. The battery dies no matter what. Exactly. How many sightings are now self-induced? Your brain is a powerful tool, peeps. You know what I mean? You can manifest your own things. You know what I mean? Power of prayer, power of the mind is it's a huge deal. You know what I mean? You consistently say, I'm going to feel great. I'm going to get better. It's going to happen. So if you're in this rut where you're just feeling down, you're feeling anxious, um, you know what I mean? Like after I had to put my dog down or after my godmother, who was my best friend, my aunt passed away 2 years ago. Gosh, I was a mess. My kids were like, "Mom, like focus, snap out of it. Like we need you. Come back, like reel it back." And instead of waking up every morning going, "Oh, I really miss you," or "Oh, I look at Chewy's picture on my phone that pops up." You know what I mean? You'd have to get in your own brain and you have to say, you know what, brain, this is not how I want to feel. Pray on it, sleep on it, write it down, say it out loud. I feel great. I feel better. Do all of these things and it'll help. It'll help. You know what I mean? Your wife has the same issue. Yeah, quit buying her watches. I never can. Even my phone. And people are like, "Oh no, your phone's just bad." And I'm like, "No, give me your phone for 4 or 5 hours. Put it in my pocket and watch how fast the battery drains." I go into rooms sometimes and the lights flicker. I guess I just drain energy. I don't know. It just happens. You know what I mean? You are not retarded and crazy, super trucker. That's like the third time. One more time and I'm gonna call you retarded for calling yourself retarded. Um, dump that line. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Sorry, you know what I mean. All right, here we go. Next slide. So the harbinger theory. So maybe I am a vampire. I don't know. Oh, hold on. Go back. So Mothman is often described as either causing disasters or a warning of some kind. That just how it's like that there's only two options. So they're literally saying, "Oh, it could be this or it could be this," because there's no definitive answer. You know what I mean? Even better, pray and state God's word and what he says about you and over the situation. Very true, Joyce. Um, some see it as a malevolent, others as a benevolent entity trying to alert people. So, West Virginia storyteller Jason Burns notes that the opinions are split. So, some see him as a villain, but he could be both. He could have been saying, "Hey, it's going to happen, look out," or "Hey, I'm here, I'm going to make this happen." You know what I mean? The Harbinger narrative gained traction with the alleged Mothman sightings before other disasters such as Chernobyl in 1986, which I also may go over because that one very much interests me. And it wasn't that long ago, guys. You know what I mean? I was alive for that one. The 1999 Russian apartment bombings, the 2009 Mexican swine flu outbreak, um, and 9/11, though get there, guys. Through evidence for these are sparse, and not really around much. Um, so it's just I don't know. It's quite interesting there. I'm gonna remove that. Um, it's evil. Trugger is crazy, but ever but ever so slightly retarded. Rocky, we're all slightly retarded. It's just life, you know what I mean? It just happens. Um, so I did there are so many videos out there. Some of them are stupid. Um, you know what I mean? Um, and it's so hard now to kind of debunk some of them, whether being true or not. There's so much stuff out there. It's so hard to dive into different things, especially when like, oh, maybe this, and then you watch another one, and you're like, oh, maybe this, and it's like, oh, could this just be power of persuasion? You know what I mean? So I did find this clip. It is a sighting map. Again, I am going to drop that link in the chat because it is kind of cool and you can kind of click on it and it gives you um the information. So go ahead and do that. um World would be boring if we are yeah, normal is boring, 100% true. Joy said if you read up on the scriptures, especially Enoch and the descriptions of the messenger spirits, they do not look at all like what people typically picture angels to look like. Mothman actually more closely fits a certain class of them. Very, very, very interesting. Have you been to Freetown State Forest? I don't think so. It doesn't sound familiar to me. Um, so I just dropped the link there for the map. It's actually pretty cool. And I'm going to play this short 42-second clip here too.
Look at the sighting map of Mothman in Chicago. And this is coming from Phantoms and Monsters. Lon Strickler, who runs that website, has really been mapping these things out and interviews with witnesses. I mean, some of these accounts are literally people, normal people in the city, in Chicago, who are walking down the street. They encounter this, 6-7 foot tall crazy moth looking being. So you have some accounts where Mothman's literally pursuing people down the street, like chasing after people.
Yeah, after it made eye contact.
Yeah. But that like I looked at the map. I just posted it in there. So if you guys want to find it, but literally if you just Google, oh, that's like the third cop that drove by. Focus, Gina, focus. If you just Google, Google or even Grok, you know what I mean? Grok is super, super smart too. There are so many different things. Like I said, there are hundreds of news articles. There are thousands of eyewitnesses. And just like your Loch Ness monsters or your UFO sightings or all of these other unnatural sightings, we don't have clear pictures. Either something happens where, maybe they froze and they couldn't get their camera out in time. Maybe they did and there's some sort of interference because maybe whatever they're seeing doesn't want to be seen in that way. Or maybe maybe you're seeing it because you're ready to see it and process it, but maybe, maybe I'm not ready to see it or the world's not ready to see it yet and they just don't want to be seen yet. Um it's just it's just so baffling to me that there can be all these sightings and stuff like that and still not have an answer. And then people just make money off of it. You know what I mean? Like, again, you got your tourism, you have your little trinkets. I go to West Virginia, I'm going to go to the museum. I'm going to probably spend money on a little t shirt or maybe a coffee mug to bring back. You know what I mean? Yeah, trucker. I also heard a bunch about the West Bridgewater, I think triangle. I think there's some sort of animal or something in there, kind of like the chupacabra or something like that. I think I heard too. Um, but there's a bunch of different places in Massachusetts. I should probably do like a fun little drive around and maybe record some things. That would be super fun. Um, but you know what I mean? It's just, here's a thought coming from a parallel universe. It could be. There are definitely different dimensions, different parallels. And again, it kind of goes back to decoding, you know what I mean? Kind of Hollywood. Do they tell us things before they happen? Are they telling us to maybe give us a warning and something like that? Freetown State Forest, don't go alone. We should maybe have a cool meetup. That would be kind of cool if any of you peeps are in Massachusetts, maybe we could like meet up and do like a meet and walk in some of these interesting, cool, funky, spooky places. That would be really fun, trucker. That would be so much fun. Um, before I gabagale a little bit further, guys, I'm gonna ask you again. Smash that like button, repost it, drag all your friends in, tell them that this crazy chick from Boston who talks about weird shit all the time and goes off the rails all the time. You know what I mean? Sounds too spooky. Well, Sean, that's not spooky. It's not like you're watching it on TV. You're walking through a forest. Everything will be fine. Everything's fine. But again, smash that like button, share, repost. Um, there's a little button if you guys are watching and maybe this is your first time watching on Rumble. There's a cool little repost feature. I have noticed if you have 2 or 3 different accounts, like I have one, like a drop down for my shorty name, and then I have a drop down one for my mom's mystery and mayhem. So make sure you choose wherever your largest following is, not just only for when you repost my hopefully streams that you like, but for any other people's streams that you love, like the Drunken Rocky, Sean's, or you know, so his backup, and anyone else I missed that has them. When you repost, make sure you're commenting and getting your friends in there. Sean has gifted 1 subscription to Mom's Mystery and Mayhem. Thank you, Sean. I love you for that. And Drunken Rocky, you were gifted that wonderful membership. Look at that. Thanks, love. Appreciate you. But yeah, go ahead. Like, subscribe, share. I'm whoring myself out. Mama needs a new computer. You got my Venmo right over here, direct link. And you can either subscribe yourself monthly or you can gift a subscription as well. Again, I don't like to beg, borrow, and steal, but it takes a lot of time, effort, equipment, to run these shows. You know what I mean? Before I started, I was like, oh, podcasting's easy. You just hop in and do. Guys, there's so much stuff to do. Joyce is in it now. I've been helping her. Jay needs to start. You know what I mean? Everything will be fine until the Mothman swoops down and sucks your brains out, then inhabits your body like a body snatcher. Beg, borrow, steal, meaning steal people's time. I mean, I don't think I'm stealing your time. I hope that you're here because you want to be here. but you know what I mean. A stick of ram would help in the meantime. You are right, Kravitz, but I need to do my research, and if I'm gonna spend, like, $150 or $200 on a stick of ram, and I can just save up a little bit more, you know what I mean, and maybe get either, a tower or, something a little bit better, you know what I mean? Kravitz chose to be here. I love you, girl. The way the camera might cut out like a 90s trial run, I'd say you at least I do it so bad. Oh, Nate said I could steal his time. Thanks, love. $30. Interesting. Interesting. I'm gonna have to do excuse me, my research better. You have 16 gibrams you can send me. Interesting, Sean. Why have you never brought this up before? I thought that was your 16 rams. Oh, let me screenshot that. Thank you, Super Trucker. I just screenshotted that so I can see that. But like I said, I love you guys all for being here. I know you. Oh God, I don't know what my kids are fighting about now upstairs. I have a fucking giant dog at my house right now. I thought my dog was big, 78 pounds. This lab is 110 pounds. Your lab is almost as probably bigger than I am. It's a big fucking dog. That's terrifying. I am gonna botch this word that Joyce just stated here. Seraphim, described in Isaiah 6 as beings who surround God's throne with 6 wings, covering their faces and feet, continuously praises God's holiness. That sounds scary for some reason. I don't know. You only need the pin count, probably 72. Joyce, we really need to touch base to get you on so you can talk about all these maybe terrifying things and tell us that they're not terrifying to ease all our fears. So where was I going here? Let me look at my notes here. Literally, I have notes that I printed out. And I again, so we did the bridge collapse. Let's see here. So theories and explanations we got going on here for Mothman. So aliens and extraterrestrials. Some ufologists suggest Mothman is an alien entity, possibly linked to UFO sightings reported in Point Pleasant during 1966 and 1977. Which again, what is going on in this town? Could it be in an area where maybe there's a high vibration or a high frequency, and maybe we are seeing things from a different frequency or vibration or timeline? I don't think we'll ever get that answer until we meet our maker, you know what I mean? The CIA just came out. I mean, look it over in Russia. That paper just leaked. I guess they shot down some sort of alien spacecraft UFO, and all these aliens came off of this UFO, collectively swarmed into from 6 to 1 creature, and basically turned all the soldiers there into stone. I mean, it's written in black and white on CIA notes and documentation. There's so many things that I can talk about. It's crazy. So could it be an alien? Who knows? You know what I mean? Supernatural entities. Theories include Mothman as a trans-dimensional being. Could it be an angel? Could it be a demon? Could it be a skinwalker? John Keel proposed it might be a watcher just recording human events. You know what I mean? Like maybe they're note taking, maybe they're curious. Who knows? Curse connection. Local legend ties Mothman to a 200-year-old curse by Shawnee Chief Cornstalk murdered in Point Pleasant in 1777, though this is more folklore than evidence. So this storytelling that has evolved over years and years and years. I know, George. That is a big shaking my head. I don't know what to trust anymore, George. There's so much stuff, and then it's crazy. Like, I don't know who posted it in Discord, but I guess Trump posted some sort of, I don't know, Twitter post or Truth Social post about something, and people figured out the letters that said like JD kill Pope. Like, I feel like, I don't know. Me and Sean were talking about this, that people are reaching for things now that maybe aren't there, and we're just manifesting things at this point. You know what I mean? Could things just really be things? You know what I mean? Without there being a backstory, 100%. You know what I mean? But again, I feel like we all like to latch on to some sort of story to kind of make sense of things because our brain isn't processing it. And it was like, well, I don't know if I believe that. So we're going to flip it to this. You know what I mean? Um, and top doom that it appears before disasters. Um, so some scientific explanations. Misidentified wildlife. So wildlife biologists um, argue that Mothman was likely a sandhill crane, which is a large bird up to 6 feet tall with a 7-foot wingspan with reddish eye patches. Sandhill cranes are not native to West Virginia, which could explain why locals found it unfamiliar. So same thing in anywhere, you know what I mean? People could have brought it over. Could it have gotten, you know what I mean? Somebody picked one up, raised it from birth, and said, I don't think I want this anymore, and just left it out in the wild. Um, yeah, I got to be careful about that. You shout things into the ether and you increase the chances of manifesting. Yes, exactly, Nether. That's why you should only manifest happy thoughts. You know what I mean? Happy thoughts. Today is going to be a great day. Or, I'm going to get this project done. Or maybe you want to go see your best friend on a trip, and, time and money is just not in the cards at that moment. Just keep putting it out there. You know what I mean? Maybe you want that promotion at work. Put it out there. I'm going to get this. It's going to be mine. It's going to happen. This is what I want. You know what I mean? Um, so it could be a misidentified animal that's not native to that area, um, which would be a logical explanation. But is it as fun as thinking there's a Mothman out there? You know what I mean? Um, yeah. It's possible as alligators in sewers, 100%. That has happened in Boston. There have been alligators in the sewers. It can happen. Sean's manifesting a community meetup in New York. I think you are, Robert is. Um, I know maybe Nate wants to meet up. I know Iron and all them do their little meetup. Gonna be fun. Chris from My Morning Mayhem, The Morning Mayhem, one letter off. I always forget how that goes. Um, but big things are gonna happen this year. We're gonna have a lot of fun. So my environmental factors, the TNT area's history of chemical storage lead to speculation about mutated animals, though no evidence supports this. But we know from different animals and stuff like that, from the Chernobyl explosion, you know what I mean? That we know radiation can cause all sorts of shit. You know what I mean? It could happen. You know what I mean? Who knows? Again, I know New York. I have never been to New York. I have no desire to go to New York. We could do it anywhere. Y'all can come to Boston. Maybe we could travel, I don't know, down the East Coast somewhere. I don't know, maybe Myrtle Beach, or I'm not really a beachy person during the day. I can't stand the beach. I burn in the sun and it never tans. And then I go back out and I just burn again. Beach at night, still may need an umbrella. Moon might burn me. I don't know. Iron and Crew would bully me for life if I came to see you. Hey, you know what, Nate? I got your back. Everything is fine. Got you. Um, Boston. I'm from Boston. Yep. Um, so could it be environmental factors? Yeah. Could that place have been a secret government lab? You know what I mean? Look at all of those movies. You know what I mean? 100%. Do we trust the government? 100% we don't. Um, Shit, we lie to our kids growing up their whole entire life about the Easter bunny. Sorry if you kids are listening. Easter bunnies and I tooth fairies and we really tell our kids that somebody comes at night to steal their teeth from under their pillow. Gross. It's just gross one. I never understood the tooth fairy. I think we did that for like 2 years in our house, maybe 3. And then we just stopped that one because that one just grosses me out. I don't know. So there's that. Um, East Coast is too far away for you. Hmm. Even with a plane, Jay, we'll figure it out. We have some time. Some people need passports. Definitely need to save up money because I'm sure it'll be an expensive trip. Also, it'd be kind of fun to maybe go to a place that has the capability, or if people have equipment to bring, that we could do like a group podcast. You know what I mean? Where everyone's together. You know what I mean? That would be super super fun. Pagan traditions that people never bothered to look into, just enraged because it was normalized. Yeah, yeah, I know. I only have one spare room. Okay, trucker. Um, so psychological and social theories. Mass hysteria. The rapid spread of sightings after the initial Point Pleasant Register article suggests mass hysteria. So it happens when a group of anxiety amplifies misperceptions. So the 1960s UFO craze and Cold War fears may have fueled this. So basically, you have one situation where somebody's like, oh my God, did you see that? So and so just told me about it. I believe them 100%. I know they're not lying. And then it kind of just snowballs. You know what I mean? Excuse me. Um, so it definitely could be a thing of, like the telephone game, you know what I mean? You kind of say something and then it just kind of snowballs like, oh, maybe I saw something, you know what I mean? Maybe kids went out to the woods and hung the bicycle reflector things in the trees just to, fuck with the neighbor down the street who get off my lawn guy, you know what I mean? And they go out their backyard or they're driving into their driveway and their car lights shine through the woods and blast off the reflectors and they're like, "Oh my god, there's something staring at me." You know what I mean? Or like Nate was saying earlier, when you're sitting there and you're like, "Oh, I feel like something's watching me." And then you're constantly looking over your shoulder with that dreaded fear that, "Oh my god, could something be looking at me?" And then you get it in your head and you're like, "Oh, I really feel like something's watching me." You know what I mean? Like that, I got that feel like somebody's watching me. Anyways, hoaxes and pranks, like I just said. Skeptic Joe Nickel notes that some reports follow hoaxes like construction workers tying flashlight to helium balloons. A prankster hiding in the TNT area could have sparked initial sightings. Again, teenagers, woods, moonshine, trying to scare people. 100% plausible. Um, I know because we used to do it as a kid too. You know what I mean? It's just kids are bored. Kids are bored creatures. I mean, you could give them 14 things to do and they're still going to be fucking bored. So back then we didn't have the internet. We lights on, lights off. You're outside from the time you wake up and you don't come home until the street lights turn back on. These kids found things to do to keep them entertained. So it's 100% possible that these kids were out in the woods crafting things out of sticks and feathers and all sorts of stuff. You know what I mean? George says, one old guy down the road from me as a kid had those set up to look like eyes in the dark. Exactly. You know what I mean? It's funny. It's funny unless somebody reports something and the newspaper runs with it and they're like, there's a creature flying around the woods with red eyes. You know what I mean? I know my kid would probably do it. It would be hilarious. It would be funny, you know what I mean? And the next thing is sleep paralysis or um, different fears. So Mothman resemblance to winged demons in sleep paralysis visions suggests it could embodied primal fears projected into real animals during panic. You know what I mean? So again, if I tell you I saw a Mothman and you believe me, or maybe you're like, no, 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 and I consistently tell you over years and years, no, listen, I know what I saw. And then maybe someone down the street are kind of like, oh, maybe could I have seen something like that? And then they're like, they think about it and think about it, and they're like, oh, I did. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know. It's all kind of baffling to me. Um, but again, these are all witness descriptions. There's really no concrete evidence of this. So it's more hearsay, it's more stories. It's basically whatever you want to believe. Could it be something out of the Bible? Could it be something demonic? Could it be could it have been a Chernobyl scenario? You know what I mean? Bat went into the little creepy cave with only one way in, splashed around in whatever liquid or God knows what was left behind, and all of a sudden mutated into a 7-foot tall, winged, slender, muscular creature who has hypnotic red eyes that shows up either to warn you about doom or creates doom. I mean, is that logical? It's only logical, you know what I mean? Who I don't know. Who knows? Are you making fun of me? You know what I mean? Listen. Listen, people. I'm trying my best here. Um again, also, fun fact, they also think that the men in black visited their area. So there are some residents that claim visits from mysterious, threatening men in black suits who warned them not to discuss Mothman or UFO sightings. Could it happen? There's movies about it, a couple of them. Men in Black. Are they telling us something? Did they warn us about this? Project Mystic. Yeah, exactly. Um, Keel popularized this narrative describing men in black as inhuman or robotic, possibly linked to government cover ups or supernatural entities. For example, journalist Mary Heyer, who covered Mothman for the Athens, Ohio Messenger, reported odd encounters with strangers. They reported missing pets. They reported electronic disruption. So their phones, their radios, TVs, they were staticky. They were turning off and on. They were doing all sorts of things. Um, it's freezing and just stopped. Oh, it's freezing and just stopped in fixing some dinner. Ooh, thank you for stopping in. I appreciate you. I hope you cook something delicious and I hope it warms up for you. I hate the cold. It's such a catch-22. I hate the cold, but I hate the heat. But I'd rather be cold than way too hot because I can't cool down once I'm way too hot. And then I just feel gross. Um, but they had reports of missing pets, the electronics on the TVs. Um, some thought this was attributed to the Mothman, while others saw this as a broader wave of high strangeness. Could it have been, again, we all know there's different vibrations, there's different frequencies. Everything we wear, touch, see, smell, taste all has its own vibration. Could there be something in the ground there, a certain mineral, a certain deposit that has a different frequency? 100%. Absolutely 100%. I want to make a burger, but I would have to get up to do that. I had burgers the other day. I like burgers, but only every so often, like, maybe once a week, every other week. Um, 66% of the time, Gina makes sense every time. Mike, what it do? So the mystery of Mothman, you know what I mean? And what do you guys think? Do you guys think that Men in Black are true? I certainly do. I may get some shit from Mike and Sean and maybe Super Trucker, George probably. I'm just kidding. But I 100% think there are different government agencies that we don't know. Shut up, Sean. You know what I mean? I'll just end the stream. Gosh, so critical. Oh, God. So, points that have come out. Yeah, Joyce says, yes, they are. It's called the CIA. So, Point Pleasant's embrace. So, the Mothman has become a symbol of local pride, and it boosted tourism in a town with only 4,000 to 5,000 people. They also now have a festival which started in 2002, which attracts 10 to 15,000 visitors annually with events like guest speakers, hayride tours, and pancake eating contests. Again, this could just be a way for the town to make money. And I'm not or George or his cat sticks up for me. Joyce, don't always stop. And they nothing to aliens like the movies. So they have the festival, they have the museum, which is opened in 2005, which houses police reports, witness accounts, and memorabilia. They got t-shirts, they got different pastries. Yeah, Mothman pancakes, exactly. I can neither confirm nor deny what I may or may not have seen at government shipping and receiving docks, which may or may not be underground. Allegedly. Lots of marketing, lots of money coming into a town. Everything always goes back to money. I hate it. It drives me crazy. They also have a 12-foot stainless steel Mothman statue created by Bob Roach in 2003, and it stands in Mothman Park. Another tourist trap. So a few media and pulp culture. Here you go, Mike. John Keel's 1975, the Mothman prophecies popularized the legend linking Mothman to paranormal phenomena, which was adapted into the 2002 film starring Richard Gere and Laura Linney, which brought global attention to Point Pleasant. Also, Mothman appears in a bunch of video games like Fallout 76, TV shows, and podcasts. So here we are talking about it, bringing attention to it. So it'll just keep going on and on and on until people just stop talking about it, and then maybe it'll disappear. But that'll never happen because people like to talk. You know, wired connections are stable for streaming. I am plugged in directly. Like I think I did this last time, but literally, my modem is it's right there. Plugged directly into it. So it's definitely my computer. My computer hates me. It's fine. Everything is fine. That film was ass. Both Mothman was also in X-Files. I remember X-Files. That was with Scully and stop doing that. Motion sickness. Batman, yeah. There's Batman comics, cartoons, Lego Batman. It's also, yeah. In 2020, a petition to replace Confederate statue with Mothman statue gained over 2,000 signatures, showing its cultural renaissance. That's quite interesting. Modern sightings. So, sightings have continued sporadically beyond 1967, though less frequently. Notable examples. So, Chicago, 2011, 2017, over 55 reports of a winged humanoid with red eyes around Lake Michigan, dubbed the Chicago Mothman, a 2020 sighting at O'Hare Airport involved a postal worker seeing a red-eye figure. 2016, Mason County, West Virginia, a man photographed a winged creature jumping between trees, claiming he was unaware of the Mothman legend. I don't know if I believe that. It's pretty much public knowledge. It has been talked about for years. Mulder and Scully. Thank you so much, Nether. Recent reports often face skepticism with explanations like owls or drones. And a 2016 photo was dismissed by science writer Sharon Hill as likely as an owl catching and carrying prey. So I don't know what to believe here. Do I think there's a 7-foot creature roaming the woods? No, I don't think a real creature is roaming the woods there. I mean, it's West Virginia, you know what I mean? I don't know. Are there many places to hide? What does it eat? What does it hunt? Does it procreate? Are there other Mothman babies running around? Like, how is this thing still alive? The only thing that I can think of is the story is still alive. Could there have been one back in the day? Possibly. Do I think it could be alive today? I don't, unless it never dies. And then if it never dies, then it's not natural. It's supernatural. And we all know that supernatural things are out there. They're scary. They're terrifying. They're there. So there's that. I don't know. What do you guys think? I know that's kind of a common question that I put out there. Do you guys think that Mothman is a myth? Do you think that it's fake and gay, that people just made it up as a touristy track to try to make their town money? Because we know how, Bigfoot brought in money, Loch Ness Monster, all of those creatures. Could somebody have actually seen a demon? 100%. I don't know. There's so many things and people seem to need a story to latch on to. And then people just kind of talk about it. I would probably visit, like I said, the museum, maybe the festival, maybe get myself some Mothman pancakes. I'm always down for pancakes. The Drunken Rocky says, pretty fake, mostly gay. George says, how about all of the above? It could be. Fear and sex sells, anything for profits. I know. I bet you it makes pretty good Halloween costumes, and you never know. There probably are sexy Mothman women costumes out there. I don't know what it would look like, but 100% could be there. Joyce says it's either a demon, made up stories, or something the government created in one of their crazy experiments trying to create super soldiers. Agreed. All three things are a possibility, and nobody knows. I don't think we'll ever know. It's just something in here. Mike says, my head says fake and gay, but the Gulder or whatever Gina said earlier in me wants to believe paranormal activity like Talupa. Jay, it did seem to a dying town. They only had 4,000 or 5,000 people in their town. That doesn't bring much business in, especially, what would you have? You have your local supermarkets to buy food. Okay. You probably have your car insurance rep, probably maybe 1 or 2 companies there. You got maybe a library. That's not going to bring in money. You got a couple of diners in the area. Got the post office. I mean, how much business can you really bring in? Super Trucker's got a moth flying around my house now. Tolpa. Mike, you should know words. Words and me don't mix. If you want me to say it right, put the pronunciation in there and I'll do my best to make sure I read all the letters that are supposed to be said. We talk so much about moths. We had one enter Trucker's house and just shoo it out. Don't kill it though. Don't kill it. Just release it back outside. Trying to think what else we got here. So again, you get the book, Mothman Prophecy. You got Mothman Behind the Red Eyes in 2005. The facts behind the legend. Like I said, there are clips out there from Unsolved Mysteries. Netflix has a documentary on it. Sexy Mothman costumes exist. I just checked. You would check. And I'm curious to see what those look like. 66% of the time, Gina gets my comments. Oops. Gina gets my comments right every time. I love you too, Mike. Oh no, it keeps. Oh, maybe you're like a super bright light. Don't moths usually attract to bright lights? Jay asked, "Are you gonna wear that costume?" Huh, Sean? Yeah, no link, Sean. Sean, drop a link. I don't. My computer probably will die, but if you drop a link, I can pull it up on my phone and show it to the camera if the camera doesn't decide to freeze. So I kind of enjoyed this one. Definitely fun. There are no physical evidence of the Mothman. 0. Just eyewitness testimony. That's it. And we know in a court of law, eyewitness testimony is not going to get you put in jail. You need physical evidence. So I had fun here. Definitely. What do you guys think? This one was fun. Just Google it. That's rude, John. You talked about it and you can't even drop the link. Just copy and paste, bro. So here we are, Sunday evening, 10:30. I think one of my children are sleeping. 2 down to go. We have school in the morning. Super exciting. And then mommy gets mommy time, which probably will consist of the house chores that I neglected this weekend. Sean, you're always pooping. It's not an excuse anymore. You have your phone in your hand typing, Gina, I'm pooping. Drop the damn link to sexy Mothman costumes. Jeez. I appreciate all of you guys being here. I appreciate the 2 subscription gifts from Joyce and Sean. I appreciate the $5 donation from my new friend. I just appreciate you guys all being here. I know there are other places you could be, other people you could be watching. You could be spending time with your significant other. I don't know, but you chose to spend it with me, and I appreciate you guys. Pterodactyl. See, I know how to read that one. Teabag and therapist. You finally made it. And Gina's almost done. Why don't I get free? You're not the only person to say that. Do you have it set that you can get like a like for certain people I also get an email notification that pops up on my phone. So if Rumble is being rumbling, I at least sometimes get the email notification and not the Gina is live notification button. Crabbit says, Sean, don't take your phone in the bathroom. Trucker said his kids are in bed, so we have nothing else to do. Ugh. Mine are old enough, so I think they're either in there. I know my son's in his room. I know my little one is hopefully sleeping because she didn't ask for more time on her iPad, which she wouldn't have gotten anyways because she needs sleep. She has stayed up so late this week. And the middle child, she could be in my bed. She does like to crawl in there, and she says my spot is the most comfortable spot in the house. So she'll crawl up in my spot, and then I'll have to go wake up. Oh, I don't want to get those. You'll get 1,000. I do get 1,000 emails, Teabag, all the time. uh, 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 you are in the truck and not at home. Oh, I'm on the truck. How that the night driving back, and I'm not just talking. Oh, there I am again. So it is that time, guys. 10:30. I had a lot of fun tonight. You guys make it fun with all your comments and all your fun. Gay internet. I know. So there it goes. So what I'm going to say at this, I know, trucker, it's again, Gina needs more RAM and a better computer. I keep putting it out there in the universe. It's going to happen one of these days. But until that happens, you're just gonna have to put up with robot Gina. So if you guys would like to throw in the comments, if you'd like anything you would like Gina to to talk about next Sunday, I am down and open for different topics and different fun stuff to go over. If you want, you can email me. Again, I'm not very ingenious with making things up, apparently. So if you want to email me, you can email me at shrty7081@yahoo.com. Just make sure you put in your subject show idea, whatever, all those fun little things. You can do that as well. So we've come to that point where I am going to again say thank you, everybody, for joining me, listening to me rant, listening to me repeat myself with certain phrases that I'm not going to say again. Like subscribe, share, comment, all those things you do to help promote me, which also helps get my name out there, bring in some more friends. I just appreciate you guys. You guys have become like family and friends. I follow you guys. I do all that fun stuff. And it comes to the point where we should raid into somebody. So if I don't know who I have out there right now, but who would you? Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Oh, Nether Knight. I love you so much. Nether Knight for $5 says, sweet dreams. Here's some more for the computer fund. I appreciate you, love. That one hates the kid. So who do we? Yes, we're going to raid. If you guys want to throw in, the Drunken Rocky says he wants to go to Dark Side Radio. Is that where you guys all want to go? Cool Frog popping in. My internet's being gay, Cool Frog. It's not my internet. It's 100% my gay ass computer. So if you guys want to drop the link, we got one for Darth Jason. Anyone wants to throw out any other suggestions? If not, we will go ahead and raid over to Mr. Darth. And Sean, are you still pooping, or do you have the capability to start the raid over to, looks like people want to go to raid whoever you want. I need to eat dinner first. So yeah, we can go ahead and raid over to Darth. Are any of my mods out there? Nate, my computer is being gay. And I have nothing else to talk about without sounding like a robot. So it has come that point in time. Again, we're going to set up that raid in a few minutes. You have his cam on. Shut up, Craig. Shit, my pigeon brain just forgot what I was going to say. You can do it. Thank you, honey. So this week, Sunday night, we are over. We had fun. Mothman I don't know. I still don't know. I'll probably never know. Nate, don't be sorry. You were here for a long time. Yeah, you gotta make sure you eat and do all those fun things. This week, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, news and hangout over at Sean's channel at Third Railify. Make sure you go and follow him if you haven't. Again, that's at Third Railify. Tuesday, Thursday, Friday is news and hangouts where we kind of open the StreamYard link so people can come in, say hi, chat, talk, have fun, hang out. Wednesday evening, Sean and I do a show about nothing, which is chat-based, chat-led, which is crazy because that show can sometimes go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours with literally the chat leading the way. Friday nights, Sean and I go live at 10. Then we raid into insert title here at 12:30. Fucking hilarious show. And then I'm usually off Saturday evening. Then I'm back Sunday night. Sean, you can go ahead and set up that raid, love. I'm going to go ahead once that is up and ready. Go ahead and start my outro. I had a great time with everybody this evening. Again, I appreciate you all so much. I hope you guys enjoy your week. Thank you so much for starting that raid. I'm sure I will see you guys in all of the chat comments. You know me, I'm up for hours and hours and hours. So this may be goodbye here, but it may not be goodbye for the remainder of the night. But I hope you guys all have a great Sunday evening. God bless you all. I hope your Monday morning goes smoothly, happily, and enjoy. Just remember, wake up in the morning, tell yourself you're going to have a great day, and believe it. I'll catch you guys all next time. Love you.
Stop the boat!
We're there.
Where?
Here. A small step for mankind, but a giant step for us.